Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm back with another video, and this is part 6 to What If Naruto is a Full Uzumaki. So, we left off uh, where was it? Yeah, they're all getting ready to take down Danzo and the Root organization. So, the people in the group are Naruto, Sasuke, Karin, Nagato, and Itachi. So, now let's get straight into this part. I don't have much else to say other than try to get people to subscribe to my channel. Um, I hope you like my content, but anyways, um, let's get started with this part. So, we start off with Obito, Zetsu, Kakuzu, Hidan, and Kisame, and they're all at the Akatsuki hideout. And Obito's extremely pissed right now. He lost the Rinnegan, and he also lost his pawn Nagato. He wasn't overly concerned with losing Nagato because Nagato was only a pawn for him. But then Nagato is still a really powerful member of the Akatsuki, and losing a member like that was really it basically the Akatsuki took a blow, pretty much pretty hard blow, and it was Obito was more concerned over losing the Rinnegan because only the Rinnegan can summon the Gedo statue. So, Obito was like, Zetsu, prepare to attack Konoha. Get me intel on Konoha and its forces. The Katsuki will be attacking there soon. And Zetsu was like, don't get ahead of yourself. Konoha has gotten new forces as well. There are several S-rank shinobi. For example, Sasuke and Itachi have both returned to Konoha, and they're both at the level of S rank right now. And Naruto has found several of his Uzumaki clan members, and four of them are S ranks. So we have six S ranks in the Hidden Leaf Village, plus the third Hokage, who's also in S rank, and the fifth Hokage, who's in A rank. And they also have Jiraiya, who is another S rank shinobi. And Obito was like, so how do you suggest we do this then? And Zetsu was like, it's simple. We must get help from Orochimaru. And Obito was like, I thought Orochimaru was dead. And Zetsu was like, we don't need Orochimaru himself. We just need the knowledge he collected about the Edo Tensei, the impure world reincarnation jutsu. And Obito was like, so you want to do it now? And Zetsu was like, yes, we have to bring back Madara. We don't have enough power to get the remaining tail beasts. The only tail beast we have captured till now is the two tails. No one knows where the location of the three tails is, and the four tails and five tails are in Jinchuriki, who are not in their villages at the in their village at the moment. They have traveling rights across the land of Earth. It was up to Itachi and Kisame to track them down. However, both of them had to split up since Itachi has betrayed the Akatsuki. The Six Tails is a missing nin from the Mist Village, so it's hard to find him as well. And the Seven Tails, it's too early in our plan to actually capture the Seven Tails. If we do that, the Gedomazo will be overloaded with her chakra. And this is the same thing with the 8 and 9 tails. And Obito was like, fine, I guess it is necessary now. And Zetsu was like, alright then, I'll send my clones to scout Orochimaru's hideouts to find any information he has on the Edo Tensei. So I'm just gonna time skip here, guys. Um, Zetsu found all the information needed, and they reanimated Madara. And meanwhile, um, like before this time skip happened, obviously the root invasion was supposed to happen. So now we're at the night before the root invasion, like right after all of them were tested by the Jonin of Konoha. and Naruto and Karin were in their bed, and they were both panting because they had just done the deed. And Naruto was like, "Karin, we really need to get some sleep. Too bad our bed broke." And Karin was like, "Well, I guess it was my fault since I suggested that we do it in Sage mode." And Naruto just chuckled, and he heard a perverted giggle outside his window, and he was like, is that who I think it is?" And he was like, "Karin, just wait for a moment. I have to check something." And Karin uh, just nodded her head, and Naruto discreetly snuck up behind Jiraiya, and he kicked him to the side, and Jiraiya was like, "What the?" And Naruto wrapped Jiraiya in his chakra chains, and he kicked him straight in the nuts, and he was like, this has to be good punishment for spying on me and Karin, Jiraiya. You truly are a pervy sage." And Jiraiya was like, why did you do that?" And Naruto uh, just chuckled, and he was like, "It gets better, Jiraiya." And he took the Jiraiya's notebook, which he was scribbling furiously on moments before, and he started to read it. And he was like, "You really have to come up with more original names, Jiraiya." And he started to read it out to Jiraiya. So it said, Norito and Katrina were about to indulge in each other's most carnal desires, but Katrina made a suggestion. The suggestion would result in the greatest and most animalistic experience possible, as the two lovers would engage in doing the most intimate activities with each other. Katrina wanted to enhance the raw passion in their nightly orgasmic rituals by allowing them both to fuse with nature itself. In other words, she wanted to enjoy the pleasure of sage mode enhanced intercourse, which her well endowed lover admitted he was itching to attempt. After the foreplay came the raw, primal activities that, due to the enhanced physical strength and stamina that a Sage Mode user is blessed with, smash their bed frame to smithereens. All the while, streams of the purest nectar gushed out of Katrina's womanhood as she moaned with pleasure, with her hands moving to a rather ample bosom as she moaned. And Naruto was like, this is you've written a rather large amount of content here, Jiraiya." And Jiraiya was like, "Please stop reading." As he was trying to clutch his manhood to prevent his balls from hurting from him getting aroused by his own writing. And um, Naruto just chuckled, and he was like, "If I catch you peeping on us again, I'll have Itachi put you in a Tsukiyomi, where you'll be forced to listen to him reading out the Icha Icha limited edition, Might Guy and Rock Lee exploding with youth." And Jiraiya was like, "No, please, nothing. I don't want anything like that. Not the exploding youth Icha." And Naruto was like, "Well, that means you just don't have to spy on us anymore." And Jiraiya was like, "Please let me go. I promise not to spy on you again." And Naruto just dropped him down, and the S rank shinobi, who was Jiraiya, the Toad Sage, landed straight on his butt. And Naruto and Karin walked away back to their house to sleep. And anyways, the next morning came, and uh, everyone's preparing to attack the foundation. Naruto, Nagato, Karin, Sasuke, and Itachi. And they entered, and first they sensed where the base was. Like, since Naruto, Karin, and Nagato are all sensors, they were able to find the root base, which was straight under Konoha, and they found that the entrance was in the Forest of Death. since not many people go there, so it's hard to find the entrance. So after Itachi and Sasuke, like when they're scanning the area with the Sharingan, they're able to detect a small genjutsu placed on a boulder. Um, and when they dispelled that, they were able to see the entrance to the foundation. So they entered, and as soon as they did, a few shinobi came out, and they were about to raise the alarm, but they were beheaded instantly. um, so basically Naruto made his approach into the base, and he brought a few stasis scrolls for all the members of the foundation who were in training, like the kids who weren't yet fully recruited into the foundation, like uh, fully who didn't fully bow down to Danzo's will. Basically, he would knock them out and place them in the stasis scroll, so that so that they could undergo therapy later, and he would basically kill the rest of the people. So first, he sensed for where people were, and he found an area with particularly low chakra uh, signatures coming off the people. So he understood that this must be where uh, the foundation kids were. So he knocked all of them out. He went there, and you know like all of them went there and knocked all of them out. And Naruto and Karin both placed them in their stasis scrolls, and Naruto was like, "All right, Karin, Nagato, let's rig this place with the explosive tags now." And they basically applied explosive tags to the entire hideout, and they were about to. They stopped right outside the main room, which was where Danzo was supposed to be, and Danzo still didn't know of what was happening, because none of the Anbus who saw what was happening made it back to report to him. So Naruto finished placing the explosives everywhere but Danzo's room, so that they could fight with Danzo. Like outside the room. So basically, afterwards they went out of the hideout, and Naruto put up a half tiger hand seal, and he was like, explode, and the entire ground underneath him shook as the foundation was destroyed, except for Danzo's main room, of course. And they went back inside to inspect the wreckage, and they saw Danzo looking at them with a not too happy expression on his face, and his two bodyguards Fu and Torune, beside him. And Danzo was like, "Fu, Torine, take care of them." And Naruto was like, "Itachi, I sense the same chakra I sense from Enuchia's Sharingan in Danzo's arm and his eye. Do you think he's..." And Itachi was like, "I wouldn't put it past him, Naruto." And Sasuke was like, What do you mean? He has our eyes?" And Itachi was like, "Yes, I believe he implanted Uchiha eyes into himself." And Naruto turned to Nagato, and he whispered in his ear, and he was like, "Do you think that you could put Danzo in a temporary stasis using your human path?" And Nagato nodded, because his he could grab Danzo's soul and pretty much freeze him uh, in place while everyone plucked out the Sharingan. But anyways, first they had to fight Fu and Torine. So they're pretty fodder characters, so I'm just gonna say they were killed pretty easily. So then Danzo ran through a series of handstands, and he was like, "Wind style, vacuum blade," and he tried to slice them with the pressurized blade. And of course, all of them were able to dodge, and Sasuke and Itachi used this as an amplifier for the fire release jutsu, and Itachi and Sasuke both ran through Hansen's in their like fire style, great fireball jutsu, and a huge fireball, was about to hit Danzo, but Danzo substituted himself, and Nagato was able to follow where he substituted himself to, and he suddenly got behind him and grappled, and put Danzo in a grapple, and he basically pressed his palm onto Danzo's back, and he grabbed onto his soul, and Danzo couldn't do anything. Like he was basically just frozen in that state. So Itachi cut off Danzo's Hashirama cell arm, and he took out his eye, like Shisui's eye, and Nagato released Danzo's soul, and so that it didn't kill him. And Danzo was like, "Where's my arm, my eye?" And Sasuke jumped in and told him that arm wasn't yours, and neither was the eye. And Danzo was like, "How dare you? How dare you steal Konoha's weapon? Those Sharingan eyes would have been very useful for Konoha." And Itachi was like, "Big words from someone who ordered the wipeout of the clan who produced them." And uh, Danzo was like, "Sometimes harsh actions have to be taken, Itachi. Don't you understand that? After all, you were the one who performed the task for me." And Itachi just shook his head, and Naruto sealed Danzo into a stasis scroll, and they're like, "All right then, we have the Foundation members, and we have Danzo. Let's take him for questioning." And basically, Sai got his seal removed because he was, you know, he became good, like how he did in the original. He got the seal that Danzo put on him removed by Naruto and Karin. So Sai wasn't really uh, in with the route anymore, so Sai was still safe. So anyways, like that doesn't really matter since Sai is a pretty irrelevant character, but still, like I just wanted to clear that out. So Tsunade and Hiruzen sent Danzo to Inoichi and Ibiki for torture and interrogation, so that they could get some information out of him, like what he had been doing in route, and like what missions he made his Anbu do, and all that stuff. So yeah, Danzo wasn't really looking so happy. So anyways, Itachi turned to Sasuke after they went out of the Hokage office, and he was like, "Sasuke, it's time." And Sasuke was like, "Time for what?" And Itachi was like, For both of us to get the eternal Mangekyo, of course." And Sasuke was like, "Hmm?" And Itachi was like, "Don't you remember? I told you about it, didn't I?" And Sasuke was like, "Oh, so that I don't go blind." And Itachi was like, "Yeah, so that we both don't go blind." And Sasuke was like, "But then how do we do it? We have to have two other sets of Mangekyo Sharingan eyes." And Itachi was like, "Don't worry, I have that covered." And he pulled out a vial that contained Fugaku's Mangekyo Sharingan, and he pulled out his crow that contained Shisui's, and now he had Shisui's other Mangekyo Sharingan. So he was like, "I'll be implanting Shisui's eyes into myself, and you'll be implanting Father's." And Sasuke was like, "Father had a Mangekyo Sharingan?" And Itachi was like, "Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't know. Your friend Naruto knew." And Sasuke was like, "I'm gonna have a talk with that bastard soon." And Itachi just chuckled, and he was like, "All right then, who do you want to conduct the procedure? Your friend Sakura or Karin?" And Sasuke was like, Karin is a better medic than Sakura, or even Tsunade for that matter. But then I trust Sakura more. And yes, guys, Sasuke still ends up with Sakura. Uh, and since he came back, he had actually been developing this relationship with Sakura. So yeah, Sakura and Sasuke are a lot more comfortable with each other. So Itachi was like, well, I'd rather have Karin do it because I've seen her in action and she's actually the one who healed me from when I was about to die. And Sasuke was like, that's true. How about we ask for them both to be here? And Itachi was like, all right then. And he basically told Tsunade about what he had to do, and Tsunade was happy to ask Sakura and Karin to facilitate this procedure. So, uh, long story short, Sakura and Karin successfully did the operation, and now Sasuke and Itachi both had the Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. And then afterwards, Naruto came to check up on how they were doing, and he asked Sakura and Karin this, and Karin was like, they'll need a week rest to get used to the different chakra in the eyes. And Naruto was like, but I thought you need a blood relative to sacrifice your Mangekyo Sharingan in order to for you to get an eternal Mangekyo. And Sakura was like, well, that hasn't been a problem here. Obviously, Sasuke's eyes are fine since he got his father's eyes implanted into him. However, Itachi had his friend Shisui's eyes implanted. I'm not sure why, but then Itachi's eyes are accepting Shisui's. And Itachi shot up from his bed, like the bandages were still tied up around his eyes, and he was like, I think I have an explanation for that." And Naruto was like, "Hmm," and Itachi was like, "Well, I was very close with Shisui. More than a friend, he was almost like a brother to me. We spent so much time together that even our chakras probably became familiar with each other." So Naruto was like, an interesting theory. And Itachi was like, well, it's the only possible theory. And Naruto was like, well, I guess that's true. And he was like, anyways, it doesn't really matter now since your eyes are accepting Shisui's eyes and you're safe from any repercussions. I guess I should get going now." Itachi just smiled and he was like, "Thank you, Naruto." And Naruto was like, "Don't mention it." And anyways, Naruto obviously knows the Akatsuki's mission, and now with uh, with Nagato's intel on all the Jinchuriki, Naruto manages to track all of them down and give them a flying Raijin kunai, and this takes about a week. So he tells all of them uh, to either run chakra through through the kunai, or throw the kunai into the ground in order to summon him in case they ever need help. And for the three tails, he located it in the mist village, that little lake. And he told the three tails that he lodged a flying Raijin kunai in its shell, and if it ever used chakra, that meant that it was under attack, so Naruto would be there to protect it. Of course, the three tails thought that Naruto's weak, so uh, Naruto wouldn't be able to protect him. However, a quick talk with Kurama changed that, and when Kurama claimed that Naruto could even defeat him now with relative ease, that's when the Three Tails recognized Naruto's power, and he decided to trust in Naruto. So after this, like a few days later, that was when Madara was reanimated. So Madara got a quick update from Obito and the rest of the group regarding the state of their plan. And he was pretty pissed, and he reprimanded Obito severely for failing so bad, and Obito was like, "Well, the Nine Tails guy is pretty tricky." And Madara raised an eyebrow, and he was like, "Oh, so even if he gave even you a challenge, then he must be pretty good at dancing." Obito kind of sweat dropped at Madara's metaphor for fighting, uh, and he personally found it really weird that that Madara referred to fighting as dancing, and he even suspected that Madara was bitter because, or partly because, when he approached a woman to dance with her, uh, well, let's just say it didn't completely go as he expected. And this was just obviously Obito's suspicion, but then uh, it was nothing more than just uh, figment of his imagination. However, Obito wasn't the type to dwell on something like that anymore. Anyways, Madara went to capture the three tails, deciding that since it was outside his Jinchuriki, and it was currently in the backwaters of the Mist Village, it wouldn't raise a lot of suspicion when it was caught, and also, like, if we try to go after the One Tails Jinchuriki, it would raise a lot of public outrage because the One Tailed Jinchuriki is a Kazekage, and basically he would be revealing himself to the world if he went after him, and he didn't really want that people to get in his way um, until his plan came to fruition. He decided to go after the three tails and the four tails and onwards until he finally got to the one tail. Anyways, he looked at the three tails, which didn't notice him yet, and he looked closer and he saw a flying Raijin kunai embedded into its shell, and he was like, Tobirama's jutsu. And he looked closer, and he uses Renegan to sense the chakra, and he was like, it's the QB Brat's chakra. And the only reason why Madara knows about Naruto's chakra signature is because Zetsu actually has the chakra signatures of everyone in catalog. Madara just has to request it, and he gets it. And he wanted to find out the like what the chakra of the person who's been giving Obito so much trouble feels like. That's how he knows Naruto's chakra signature. He was like, if the QB brat left it there, it must be something to protect the three tails. Anyways, no matter what it is, I can't take my chances. I have to get rid of that. Without the three tails even noticing, he quickly grabbed the kunai and he destroyed it. Uh, this meant that he wouldn't alert Naruto, and he put the three tails under a genjutsu with his eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, or even his Rinnegan for that matter. It doesn't really matter which one he used to put the genjutsu. The point is that he put the genjutsu, and he brought the three tails back to the hideout, and he started its extraction. Meanwhile, while this was happening, Kisame was sent to retrieve the four tails, since they got a good idea of the location he was in. So, of course, Kisame went there, and deciding not to take any chances, Roshi, who was the four tails Jinchuriki, he immediately ran chakra through the kunai that Naruto gave him, and of course, Naruto was there in a flash of red. And Kisame was like, the four tails and the nine tails. Today's my lucky day. And Naruto was like, I wouldn't count myself lucky if I were you. It's kind of the opposite. And Kisame was like, so you count yourself lucky to see me? And Naruto was like, that's not what I meant. I meant that it's unlucky for you to meet us here. And Kisame just chuckled and he was like, Well, with my Samehada here, your chakra levels won't matter at all. And Naruto was like, I won't be too sure about that. And Kisame wondered what he meant, but then he just shook it off. And right as he started fighting, Naruto quickly did some signs, and he placed his palm onto the Samehada, putting a black seal there. And Kisame was like, "What did you do to my sword?" And Naruto was like, "You'll find out soon." And he went into his QB mode, like his KCM2, and he blitzed Kisame, and Kisame just blocked with his sword, hoping to remove all of his chakra. And he actually succeeded to remove a huge chunk of in removing a huge chunk of the chakra. But then, uh, what he didn't expect was that Samehada exploded into a bunch of scales and other shrapnel, and now the sword was completely gone. Kisame screamed and he was like, "How dare you? What did you do?" And Naruto was like, "Well, I just put a seal that transformed chakra into explosive power." And Kisame was like, "What?" And Naruto was like, "Well, I put it in your Samehada because your Samehada absorbs chakra, and the steel absorbs chakra from the Samehada, and the more chakra that is absorbed, the larger the explosion is." And Kisame was like, "Why didn't the seal get absorbed?" And Naruto was like, "You see, my seals are very special. I lace them with nature energy that cannot be absorbed by your sword. In fact, your sword is physically unable to uh, absorb nature energy because anything that absorbs nature energy without having sage mode experience is turned to stone." And Kisame uh, was absolutely flabbergasted that they so easily took down his greatest weapon, and he actually gulped, showing visible fear on facing two Jinchuriki without his Samehada. And Naruto was like, "Don't worry, Kisame, we won't kill you yet." And Kisame kind of sighed in relief, and Naruto made five shadow clones, and the shadow clones ran around Kisame and formed into a pentagon around him, five tetragram style. Chakra conversion. And Kisame was kind of confused about what these words meant, but then he suddenly found himself, with his chakra rebelling against his own chakra networks and slowly destroying it. And Naruto was like, "So you're wondering what I did there, huh?" Kisame nodded, and Naruto was like, "Well, I forced 95% of your chakra to turn into anti chakra, which attacks your own coils." And Kisame was like, "What the hell is anti chakra?" And Naruto was like, "It's something I discovered while doing my little Fuinjutsu projects." And Kisame was like, "What? How?" And Naruto was like, "You know how chakra is a combination of spiritual and physical energy. Do you not?" And Kisame nodded, and Naruto was like, "Well, I use sealing jutsu to turn the yin chakra in uh, the yin part of chakra into yang, and the yang part into yin, and I had to do this forcibly. And when I tried to do this, the most interesting thing happened. An energy wave suddenly pulsed around the seal, and I was met with a violent reddish black energy. And when I tried to supply chakra to this, it would lose energy while simultaneously negating the chakra. This is when I dubbed it anti chakra. And Kisame was like, "That is the most fucked up explanation I ever heard." And Naruto was like, "It doesn't matter now. Anyways, you're captured." So Naruto immediately took out a stasis scroll and he sealed Kisame inside. And since Kisame was only functioning on 5% chakra, he was extremely tired and his body was, really weak. So yeah, Kisame was pretty damn exhausted right now. Naruto said bye to the Four Tails Jinchuriki, who's thankful to have him there, and Naruto left, but not before the Four Tails, out of seeing the kindness that Naruto had offered to other Jinchuriki, couldn't help but give Naruto a bit of his chakra, and yeah, so Naruto got his lava release from the Four Tails. So yeah. Uh, he delivered Kisame to the torture and interrogation building, and he told Tsunade about everything that happened. So, anyways, after Naruto explained everything to Tsunade about what happened to Kisame, um, now we move to Obito and the rest of the Akatsuki members, who are Kakuzu, Hidan, and Zetsu. And Obito is fucking pissed. He's absolutely in rage mode pretty much, because he expected Kisame to be able to get the four tails, but since Naruto placed a flying Raijin seal on everyone, it was pretty difficult. And Madara was also like shaking his head in dismay, seeing how incompetent the Katsuki members were, and he was like, "Obito, declare war. We must capture the remaining tail beasts." And Obito was like, are you sure, Lord Madara? We don't have enough forces. We only have you, me, Kakuzu, and Hidan, and Zetsu is not much of a fighter. He can be taken down by a Chunin." And Madara was like, "Well, that just means we're gonna have to make some more uh, warriors for our forces." And Obito's like, "What do you mean?" And Madara was like, "Don't you remember how I was summoned here?" And Obito was like, "So you want to reanimate those shinobi?" And um, Madara was like, "Yes. Now I know that snake Orochimaru, he collected DNA from several great shinobi in his labs. Send Zetsu clones to retrieve all those samples so that we can perform the Edo Tensei." And Obito was like, "Alright then, I'll declare war." And he summoned Zetsu, and he was like, "Zetsu, split yourself into five clones and warn each of the five Kage that we're starting a war for the tail beasts. Let them know that it's up to them. It's either they give their tail beasts over or it's war." And the Zetsus were like, "Alright." So now we move to each of the five Kage's offices, and um first we go to Tsunade's office, and Sasuke and Itachi were both with her to report a recon mission, the results of a recon mission that they did. And right as they were about to leave, Zetsu came bursting out of the floor, and he was like, "Hello!" And Tsunade was like, "Who the hell are you?" And the Zetsu pouted, and he was like, "Aw, you're not very hospitable." And Tsunade was like, "What the hell are you doing here?" And the Zetsu was like, "You must hand over the QB to me now." And Tsunade was like, "And why exactly?" And the Zetsu was like, "Because if not, we declare the fourth great ninja war." And Tsunade was like, "Shove your aloe vera jelly up your ass. I'd rather fight the war than give Naruto-kun to you." And the Zetsu was like, "So be it." And he was about to slip into the ground, but then Sasuke looked at him, and he was like, "Amaterasu." And the Zetsu burned, and he was like, "Hey, don't kill the messenger." And Tsunade just ignored him, and Zetsu pretty much burned to dust, burned to nothing, and like it left behind nothing after it finished burning. So, anyways, now we move to the lightning country, to the Cloud Village, and in the Raikage's office, a similar thing happens. One of the Raikage's bodyguards, uh, I think his name was C, like the censor guy. Uh, so basically, he was like, Lord Raikage, I sense a new presence in this room. And the Raikage was like, what's going on? And C was like, look, he's coming. And he pointed to a spot on the floor, and sure enough, a Zetsu clone appeared. And the Raikage was like, what the fuck are you? And uh, the Zetsu clone was like, hee, we just came to take your octopus. And the Raikage was like, no way in hell you're taking B. And basically Zetsu was like, well, that means you'll have to undergo the fourth great ninja war. And the Raikage was like, the Raikage, he blitzed towards the Zetsu and slammed his lightning enhanced fist and destroyed it. And he was like, there's no way you're getting my brother. And he just sat back, and he was like, bring me some tea, Mabui. And Mabui is his assistant, by the way, if you didn't know. So he just like put a hand over his head because of the stress of shouting to a Zetsu. And he was like, Mabui, please get me some tea. And Mabui, she just went and did as she was told. Now we moved to the Tsuchikage's office, the village in the stone. So, Onoki's office. So, the Zetsu gives a similar message with Onoki refusing, and Onoki just uses his particle style atomic dismantling jutsu to destroy the Zetsu. Man, that's a cool jutsu though, and so OP. Anyways, never mind that. So now we move to the Mizukage, who's Mei, and we move to her office. And by the way, after what happened to the Three Tails, um, she called Utakata back to the village, and no charges were pressed against him, and he was kept safe. So a similar incident happened, but May melted the Zetsu into a puddle using her acid mist, and yeah, she decimated the Zetsu, and now we move to the Sand Village. So basically, after the um, Zetsu gave the message to Gara. Gara just got some of the sand and did a sand burial jutsu on the Zetsu, and the Zetsu's dead. So, yeah, this is how the five great nations were informed of the war. So, they all immediately start making preparations, and they agree to meet in the Iron Country in 3 days. And for the 5 Kage summit. So basically, Tsunade is the first to actually send the letters requesting for the 5 Kage summit, and all the other countries accept, like all the other nations accept that, and they start making their preparations. So after a few minutes, Naruto comes bursting into Tsunade's office, and he's like, "Hey, Grandma Tsunade, there's something that we need to do before the war." And Tsunade was like, "What is that?" And Naruto was like, "It's about the seal on your forehead." And Tsunade was like, "What about it?" And Naruto was like, "Didn't you say that when you use it, it drains your life force?" And Tsunade was like, "Yes, it does, but it prevents me from dying from injuries. So it's better to get a few years shaved off my life than lose my life altogether. Isn't that right?" And Naruto was like, "Could you undo your transformation that allows you to look young?" And Tsunade was she got angry, and she was like, "Why do you want that?" And Naruto was like, I just want to see to what extent you have used it. And Tsunade was like, fine, Anbu out, and you too, Sasuke, Itachi, and all of them went out, and Tsunade undid her transformation, and she looked really frail. And instead of looking like she was in her 50s, she actually looked like she was in her 80s. And Naruto was like, "Damn, you really do abuse that thing." And Tsunade was like, "Shut up, brat! Now what are you here for?" And Naruto was like, "Well, I have a suspicion on why it has that effect on you, and it might be fixable." And Tsunade was like, really? And Naruto was like, yeah, it could also possibly help you regain all the years of life that you lost. And Tsunade was like, now quickly tell me what you're suggesting. And Naruto, he was like, Grandma Tsunade, so what type of chakra does your seal store? And Tsunade was like, I'm not exactly sure. I actually learned how to use the seal from my grandmother Mito, the first Hokage's wife. She didn't really tell me exactly what type of chakra it stores. And Naruto was like, could you please activate the seal for a moment and flow some chakra into this chakra sealing paper? And Tsunade was like, all right. And she did that, and then she channeled some of the chakra. And Naruto was like, all right, now could you please summon someone who can use the eight gates? And Tsunade was like, you mean Rock Lee or Might Guy? And Naruto was like, yes, they will do. And she summoned Lee since Guy had gone on a mission. And so Lee came to the office, and he was like, ah, Naruto, my friend, you're looking quite youthful today. And Naruto was like, this is not the time for that, Lee. Anyways, could you please activate three of your gates? And Rock Lee was like, why? And Naruto was like, to show me how much youth you have. And Rock Lee was like, yes, I shall unleash the power of my youth. And he opened the first three gates. And Naruto was like, very good. Now please flow your chakra into this. And he basically showed him the same seal that Tsunade sent her chakra into. And Lee was like, all right. And then he touched the paper, and he flowed his chakra, and the strangest thing happened. The paper basically disappeared, and Naruto was like, so this confirms my suspicions. And Tsunade was like, what do you mean? What suspicions? And Naruto was like, the seal on your forehead, it stores yin chakra, while Rock Lee's gates, they store yang chakra. And Tsunade was like, how could you come to such a conclusion? And Naruto was like, well, your life force is made of yang chakra. So when you use your 100 healing seal, which is made of yin chakra, it draws energy from your life force in order to convert itself into regular chakra so that you can use it. This is why whenever you use it, you lose some of your life, a few years of your life. And Tsunade, her eyes widened at this, and she was like, "And what about Rock Lee?" And Naruto was like, "The eight gates use Yang chakra. Yin is the spiritual energy, the spiritual part of chakra, and Yang is the physical part of chakra. Since the gates physically enhance all attributes of the person using them, I came to the conclusion that the gates uh, release Yang chakra." And Tsunade was like, so so what are you going to do about my yin seal? And Naruto was like, I was coming to that. So if I store some of Lee's chakra into this paper and apply the seal on you, uh, you'll be able to release both the yin and yang components of chakra. And and the yin seal won't draw on your life force for yang chakra anymore. So Naruto quickly drew a seal on a paper, and he asked Rock Lee to channel as much chakra as he can into it, and Rock Lee does so. And Naruto actually asks him to open the fourth and fifth gate as well, and Rock Lee was like, "I can open the sixth gate as well now." And Naruto smiled and he was like, "Yeah, could you please do that?" And Rock Lee did as he was told, and he flowed all of his yang chakra um, into the seal. So um and afterwards he was like, "I feel tired now, Naruto, I'm going to go and rest." And Naruto was like, "All right, Lee, you have proven to be quite youthful today." And Lee immediately brightened up and he was like, "Yes, Naruto acknowledges my power of youth." And Naruto just smirked and he was like, "Anyways, I'll draw a chakra storage seal right on top of the chakra coils that you send a chakra to activate your yin seal, so that they activate the yang seal at the same time, and you won't suffer the detrimental effects of using your 100 healings." And Tsunade was like, "All right." And Naruto drew the seal, and he transferred all of the chakra that Lee outputted into the seal. And Tsunade suddenly felt much livelier, and not like she was 80 years old. And she was like, "Wow, I haven't felt like this in so long." And Naruto was like, "I guess that's all the years you wasted by using that yin seal coming back to you." And Tsunade was like, "How did you know all this?" And Naruto was like, "Well, I trained under some relatives, and I learned a lot of extensive. I got a lot of extensive knowledge on chakra theory." And Tsunade was like, "Who are these relatives?" And Naruto was like, "They do have a few errands to run, but they will be back in time to fight the war." And Tsunade was like, "All right." And as she was about to go away, but she turned back and she was like, "And they're Uzumaki?" And Naruto's like, "Yes, they are. They're actually the ones who saved me after my fight with Sasuke in the final in the Valley of the End." And Tsunade was like, "I see." And she glared at Sasuke, who was waiting outside. And Sasuke, he went inside and he was like, "Naruto, why did you have to tell her?" And Naruto was like, "I thought she already knew about the incident." And Sasuke was like, "Well, she did, but she doesn't like it when anyone brings it up." And Naruto was like, "Sorry, sorry. I'm sure she'll get over it though." And Sasuke was like, "I hope so." And anyways, Tsunade was just about to, leave the Hokage building, but Naruto suddenly remembered something, and he blitzed over to her, and he was like, "Grandma Tsunade, I forgot something." And Tsunade was like, "I'm a bit busy now, Naruto, later." And Naruto was like, "Don't worry, I only need Karin's help. I just need your permission." And Tsunade was like, "And what does this entail?" And Naruto was like, "Well, I want to remove the curse marks from Anko and Sasuke. They'll only hold them back during the war." And Tsunade was like, "And what? Why do you need Karin for this?" And Naruto was like, "Well, Karin is also Seal Master of my caliber, and also she knows a lot of medical jutsu. Medical ninjutsu. In fact, I dare say that she's even better than you." And Tsunade raised an eyebrow, and Naruto was like, "Well, it's true. You'll find out soon." And Tsunade was like, she just smiled and she was like, "It's about time that I get surpassed uh, in my skill as a medical ninja. I'm happy that the next generation has found out more information in this field." And Naruto was like, "Well, anyways, do you give me permission?" And Tsunade was like, Yes, Naruto, I don't need that snake Orochimaru breeding in any of his vessels." And Naruto, he just smirked, and Tsunade summoned Sasuke and Anko to her office, and she left the Hokage building, and and by the way, she summoned Karin as well. So all three of them went there, and Sasuke, he was already right outside, and he heard what Naruto's going to do, and he was all for it. And Anko had to be explained, what was going to happen and stuff, and she also was happy, with this plan. And Naruto turned to Tsunade's secretary Shizune, who's still there, and he was like, "Shizune, I forgot to ask Tsunade something. Are there any criminals that are going to receive a death penalty, perhaps in a painful way?" And Shizune was like, "Why would you ask such a thing?" And Naruto was like, "Well, I'm actually going to transfer Sasuke and Anko's curse marks onto them." And Shizune is like, "So I'm guessing you'll need two of them." And Naruto was like, yes, I do." And Shizune is like, "Well, you're in luck. We only have two prisoners who have been um, given the death penalty, and they're rapists, so they're the perfect people to give the curse mark." And Naruto just smiled because you know Karin was feminist, and it kind of rubbed off on him, and he hated people who forced themselves onto women with like absolute venom. So yeah, he kind of smiled darkly, knowing that he was going to put these rapists in pain. And anyways, uh, he was like, "All right, then bring them in." And Shizune was like, "Well, I need Tsunade's permission." And Naruto was like, "Well, then, what are you waiting for?" And Shizune was like, all right, Naruto, be patient." And Shizune ran out to find Tsunade, and came back a while later saying that she got the permission, and Naruto and Karin both went to get those prisoners released, so that they could, come to the office. And Naruto, so that they would cooperate, he told them that a discrepancy was found in their, report, and the Hokage found them to be innocent, so they had to come to her office immediately. And they actually smiled in glee, thinking that the Hokage was fooled, and they get to go free again. So obviously, this isn't the case. It's just false hope that Naruto gave them. So Naruto, as soon as they came out of the prison, Naruto immediately knocked them out, and he brought them to the office and tied them with like a rope. And he was like, "All right, so let's begin. Karin, you take Anko and I'll take Sasuke." And Anko was like, "Why? I want you. Yeah, you're pretty cute." And Naruto's like, "Another reason why I want you working on her, Karin." And Karin just smirked, and Anko just pouted, but she went along with it. And Sasuke just chuckled, and he was like, "By the way, Naruto, why do you need these people to transfer the seal onto?" And Naruto was like, "Well, along with this curse mark, Orochimaru has sealed a bit of a soul into you as well. And I know this because that's actually a forbidden Uzumaki sealing jutsu. And it was forbidden because it allowed people to evade death, and it couldn't even be removed, since there isn't any means of there's no sealing jutsu with the means to destroy the soul." And Sasuke was like, "That is a pretty crazy technique." And Naruto was like, "Right, anyways, these three tomo shaped markings on your neck, they're actually three different seals. One is chemicals that make it addicting to use the curse mark. The other is Orochimaru's chakra, and the third is a sage chakra from an unknown source. And Sasuke was like, well, actually, I know the source. And Naruto was like, hmm? And Sasuke was like, you remember that team that I took along with me when I went to kill Itachi? And Naruto was like, yeah, that blue-haired guy and the orange-haired guy. And Naruto was like, well, those two are Suigetsu, Hozuki, and Jugo. Jugo is actually the origin of the curse mark, and he possesses the first curse mark. Orochimaru extracted enzymes from him, and he experimented on him to actually create the curse mark. And Naruto was like, all right. So this will make it easier to extract these curse marks from you guys. Uh, Shizune, could you please go get Jugo? And Shizune she went and she got Jugo. And by the way, Jugo was there in the village since when Sasuke and Itachi came back with Naruto. Suigetsu and Jugo followed along as well. And obviously Karin wasn't in Team Taka because she was in Konoha. So anyways, Jugo came and Naruto was like, Jugo, could you please absorb the Sage Chakra from these two curse marks? And Jugo did as he was told, and one of the black tomoe shaped marks disappeared from each of their necks, and basically Sasuke and Anko felt a huge weight lift off their shoulders after Jugo did this, and Naruto was like, that sage chakra, it actually causes the person using this curse mark to have a little bit of insanity. Um, Whenever this curse mark is used, it causes people to go in a state of bloodlust. And Jugo was like, well, you couldn't be more right. And Naruto was like, anyways, now to transfer the curse mark onto these two criminals. And he basically waved a bunch of one-handed hand signs, and like with each of his hands, like he basically weaved like separate one-handed hand seals in each hand. And Sasuke was like, what are you doing? And Naruto was like, you'll see. So he finished the sequences in each hand, and he put his right hand on Sasuke's curse mark and his left hand onto the prisoner. And the curse mark basically flowed through him. Basically, the flame shaped marks that the curse mark creates, they basically flowed through him into the man. So after the man received the curse mark, like he was basically like shrieking in pain, but and he actually died from receiving it, since his underdeveloped civilian chakra network couldn't handle it. So he died, and the same thing happened to the other man when Karin removed Anko's curse mark. And Naruto and Karin simultaneously got up and said, "It's done." And Sasuke and Anko rubbed their shoulders where the curse mark used to be, and they smiled, noticing that they didn't feel any presence of the curse mark anymore. So, of course, Naruto helped them here. So, yeah, that is over. So now we move on to the five Kage summit, where they discuss about an alliance to basically help them win the war. So I'm not really going to describe what happens in the summit, guys. They just make an alliance. There isn't really any kind of showing of like Obito doesn't really show up there, and Madara doesn't show up there either. They just do their business in peace, and they end up creating an alliance. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the Five Kage summit. So every nation starts preparing their forces, and finally, on the day of the war, all the troops are assembled, and the war starts. And anyways, all the reanimated people are reanimated by Obito, since he managed to he managed to locate the scroll. Um, like Orochimaru scrolls about the Edo Tensei using Zetsu. So he also got all the DNA's samples, so he was able to reanimate everyone. And in this case, Naruto was never sent to um, Turtle Island to train his QB powers because he already knew how to use them. So and also no one was okay with letting Naruto stay out of the war because they knew that Naruto was a necessity in a war of such magnitude, and Naruto proved himself to be really powerful. So they couldn't just let him sit to the side, and Naruto wouldn't do that either because he is Naruto and he wouldn't abandon his comrades like that. So they started fighting, and the majority of the war arc doesn't really change. Everyone pretty much gets sealed, and Naruto fights against Obito, and his shadow clones fight like all the reanimations, and Madara appears in the same way, and the five Kage stay to fight him. But even Karin stays as well because she decides that uh, since the real Naruto is with Obito, um, or as they know him, the fake Madara, she would help the Kages defeat the real one. And by the way, Naruto was shown the files about the Uchiha clan, so he knew that Obito was the only Uchiha whose body couldn't be found, and he decided that this masked man should be Obito, and he had a discussion with Kakashi about that, but Kakashi wouldn't believe him until he saw it. So of course Naruto tried to remove the mask so that Kakashi would know who it is, and the fight between Naruto and Obito and all the Jinchuriki would go a lot different because Naruto would have much easier time taking down all the previous Jinchuriki, and Obito would get pretty pissed at this, and he would basically feed the uh, the eight tails tentacle and the nine tails a chakra from Kinkaku and Ginkaku to the Gedomazo, like the statue of the other path. And by the way, they got the tentacle when Obito and Obito, Kakuzu, and Hidan went to fight B. So that's how they got the tentacle. Um, just substituted himself. So, anyways, the only reason why B got out of that alive is because Naruto saved him, and whenever they try to go against the other Jinchuriki as well, Naruto was able to save them. So yeah, only the three tails and the two tails were taken away. So, anyways, Obito was only able to summon the two tails Jinchuriki and the three tails Jinchuriki to fight as his pats, and the other pats were just a bunch of random ninjas. But then they're pretty powerful. But then I don't really feel like coming up with their identities or whatever. So forgive me, but they are pretty powerful. And not and they can like compare to the skill of a Jinchuriki. So, anyways, um, Naruto still takes all of them down, and Obito reseals the three tails and the two tails, and afterwards Obito is about to um, put his hand on Naruto so that he could use his Rinnegan to absorb the Nine Tails. But then he made a grave mistake as he didn't see that one of Naruto's flying Raijin seals was behind him, because Naruto had actually flooded the entire area with flying Raijin seals, and that was because he managed to incorporate it in his water jutsu, and this is only possible with his 10 finger hand signs thing. So anyways, Naruto was able to pull that off, and he teleported and he placed a chakra seal onto Obito, and now Obito couldn't use his Kamui, and anyways, Naruto punched him, and Obito tried to use Kamui, but he found he couldn't, and his mask shattered when Naruto punched it, and this happened right on time for Kakashi and Guy to come there and see that this masked man was indeed Obito, and what Naruto was saying was true. And they still have that little discussion about why Obito, decided to go rogue and he didn't come back to the village and all that stuff. And Naruto basically sealed Obito into a stasis scroll, and and before he did that, he actually sealed the connection to his eyes as well, so that Obito couldn't see anything, and he could also not use his eyes even after even if he somehow manages to get his chakra back. So, anyways, he after that he seals Obito into a stasis scroll, and he hurries up to help the five Kages and Karin fight off Madara, and he sees that the five Kage are almost dead, like all of them are knocked out, and Tsunade's body is split in half, and Karin was really injured. But she was like the least injured out of all of them because she was the strongest. Naruto saw this and saw the carnage around him, and he was like, Karin, don't tell me Madara did this to you. And Karin just sat up and shed a tear, and she was like, "I'm sorry, Naruto. He was just too strong. His jutsus would overpower my seals because they just didn't have enough capacity uh, to absorb all of them. And whenever he would notice that I was trying to place a seal on his Susanoo, he would always bat me away, and I was never able to do it. I tried to place the seal on the ground, but he was just too fast. He wouldn't let me." And Naruto was like, did you try the chains?" And she was like, he was too good for even the chains. He just uses Rinnegan and pushed them all away." And anyways, Naruto was like, well, he sounds pretty dangerous. Anyways, I'll use my limited knowledge in healing jutsu to heal you, but I need you to let Tsunade bite you so that you can heal her and she can heal all the other Kages. And uh, Karin nodded, and Naruto healed her, and then he saw Madara standing on top of the cliff, while Karin went over and let Tsunade bite her, and Madara was like, my, so you two are from Mito's clan, are you?" And afterwards he was like, "Well, no wonder you two are pretty exceptional." And Naruto just glared at him, and he was like, "So where's Obito?" And Naruto was like, "Well, your pawn is sealed away, and his connections to his eyes are cut off, so you can't do anything with him." And Madara was like, "What? Obito got defeated, and what of the Rinnegan?" And Naruto was like, "I just told you. He can't use his Rinnegan anymore, and I don't know where the location of the other Rinnegan is." And Madara, he got really pissed off, and he was like, "I'll burn you to a crisp, you brat." Fire style, majestic destroyer flame, and he blew out a huge, uh, like torrent of flame, and you guys saw the anime. You know what Madara's fire jutsu looks like, so he did that, and Naruto was like, "Water style, great exploding Raijin water shockwave." And he shot like an equally huge water jutsu, and Madara noticed that this water is murky, but focusing his Edo Tensei Rinnegan closer onto it, he was able to see that all of those are tiny seals, and he was like, "No way, the brat knows Tobirama's jutsu." And he was like, "I must put up my Susanoo." And he went into his perfect Susanoo, and the fire was easily countered, and there was water all over the place, and Naruto was like, So well, Madara, let's see how your Susanoo protects you. And Madara was like, I'll have you know that my Susanoo rivals even the tailed beasts. And Naruto was like, to be honest, it's not that impressive. Madara was like, what do you mean? And Naruto was like, well, according to me, he doesn't really offer that good of a protection. And Madara was like, I'll show you the might of my Susanoo. And he raises a sword at Naruto, and Naruto teleported straight inside the Susanoo because there's water all over the place containing his Raijin seals. And Madara looked down to see that there's water, and he was like, shit, how could I have let him do this? And Madara was like, well, kid, you dance well. I commend you for being able to catch me off guard like that. Naruto didn't listen, and he slammed a Rasengan straight into Madara. But Madara absorbed it with his Rinnegan, and Naruto was like, of course, the Rinnegan. And he did a few hand signs, and he tried to place his hand on Madara's forehead to cut his connection from his eyes. And Madara caught his wrist, and he threw him away. But Naruto just used the flying Raijin to get back, and Madara was like, I have to deactivate my Susanoo now. And eh, he deactivated his Susanoo, and he blitzed away. And and after he got some distance, he stopped, and basically he felt a presence behind him, and he turned around to see Naruto. And Naruto's like, wherever you go, I'll follow you. And Madara, his eyes grew wide as he wasn't expecting this. And Naruto placed chakra seal right on his hand, and Madara couldn't use chakra anymore. And Madara was like, what did you do? And Naruto was like, well, I ended this war. And Madara was like, ugh. And he flared his chakra really hard, and he ripped through the chakra seal, and Naruto's eyes grew wide. And as Madara um, basically threw a punch at him, and Naruto went flying. And Naruto basically teleported back to the ground after getting over his temporary daze, and he rubbed his jaw where Madara punched it, and he was like, "That was a pretty good punch." And Madara just smirked, and he was like, "Let's dance." And Naruto immediately waved a few of his unique hand signs, and he was like, "Water style." Tsunami. And he unleashed a huge tsunami, and it was also murky. And Madara noticed that the seals were different this time, and he didn't want to wait to find out what those did. So he basically jumped real hard, and he landed back onto the cliff. And the ground was drenched in water, and a few drops actually hit him, applying the seals onto him. And Madara was like, shit, I can't use chakra. And Naruto's like, I got you now. And Madara was like, I have to break out. And then he flared his chakra real hard again, and he managed to break out because of his monstrous chakra reserves. And Naruto was like, well, the only person who ever did that to my chakra seals before was Karin. Speaking of whom, she is joining the fight now. Aren't you excited? And Madara's eyes grew wide as Karin flashed behind him and threw a chakra punch, like chakra enhanced punch. And this actually blasted Madara's arm, like shoulder, to pieces. And before it healed, Naruto placed a sealing tag on him, and he was like, "That's it now. The war is over." The seal slowly destroys your chakra coils, no matter how fast you regenerate because of your Edo Tensei. Your chakra coils won't be able to keep up from the level of destruction that they undergo because of the seal. And Madara was like, How dare you interfere with my plans? But before he could say anything else, Naruto slapped a huge bunch of chakra seals on him so that he couldn't move anymore, and he also placed one on his forehead so that he couldn't access his dojutsu. And while all this was happening, Madara noticed that he was severely outclassed by Naruto and Karin, and he was like, "Looks like you were right, Hashirama. Looks like the future generations always overtake the previous ones in terms of power." And basically, Naruto also placed Madara into a stasis scroll, and he basically put a huge amount of chakra, including Kurama's, into the seal so that Madara wouldn't be able to break out if he tried. Because Naruto was really worried about Madara doing that because of his insane chakra levels. So he decided that after they went home, they would get Obito to undo the reanimation, and this war would be over. And this was actually all just hope until Naruto found a way to do a mass desummoning of Edo Tenseis. So, anyways, they all went back to the village, and Obito got talk no jutsus by Naruto and Kakashi, and I'm not really going to explain how that went because um, it was just a bunch of stuff about what Rin would have wanted and all that stuff. So and whether what Obito was doing was the right thing and all that. And Naruto even did an Edo Tensei of Rin because he could use Edo Tensei by using his shadow clones as the sacrifice. So Rin basically talked to Obito, and they managed to convince him to join their side and undo the reanimation. So he did that, and yeah, the war is over now. So, anyways, this doesn't end in any kind of fight between Naruto and Sasuke because Naruto and Sasuke have like a healthy rivalry and not like the unhealthy kind they had in canon. Uh, and Sasuke knows that he can't compare to Naruto, so Naruto places limiters on himself whenever they spar. Basically, like Naruto isn't allowed to use any sealing jutsus. That is a pretty huge limiter, but then he is allowed to use his adamantine chains, so uh, so that it's not completely unfair. So, anyways, now we move into the future. Naruto marries Karin, and since his wife is in Hinata, his daughter isn't called Himawari, and she's instead called Keiko, um, like Keiko. So Sasuke still gets together with Sakura and has Sarada, and as I do in my other what ifs, Nagato and Conan get together, and they have Yahiko, named after their late friend. Jiraiya and Tsunade also get together. Um, I failed to mention this in my other what ifs, but then in those Jiraiya and Tsunade get together as well. But anyways, their ship isn't really that important because they don't really have any kids, and Itachi marries Anko because they were able to bond on the pain of being looked down upon by the entire village, because Anko was looked down upon because she was Orochimaru's student, and people often like would call her the snake bitch and stuff along those lines. And Itachi was known as the clan killer, and even though word got out that he was actually good and he was protecting Kona, a lot of people still would give him mean looks, and would treat him badly because of him killing his own family. So they related on that front, and they fell in love and got married, and they had a son called Shisui, and yeah, they all live happily ever after. All the future threats like Momoshiki and Ishiki and all those people, they're all taken care of easily by Naruto. And the Sage of Six Paths doesn't really feel the need to visit Naruto because because only two tail beasts were extracted, and he didn't really feel that that things had escalated to the point where he had to make an appearance. So Naruto never got the sage's powers, but then his sealing jutsu was formidable enough that he actually didn't need it, and he was around the um, like the level of Sasuke and him combined in the original at this point. So he didn't really need any Sage of Six Paths powers or anything like that. And he, Nagato, and Sasuke, and even Itachi, and of course Karin, since she was his wife, would all take part in slaughtering the Otsutskis who tried to invade, and the leaf was obviously like the most powerful, same as it is in canon. But all the nations have an alliance, and of course there's peace, and Naruto's dream of becoming Hokage came true, and basically since Sasuke didn't really do anything evil in his life, he didn't really feel the need to go on a redemption journey, so he stayed home a lot more. And since he didn't have the Rinnegan, it wasn't necessary for him to go and explore the ruins of the Otsutskis. And it was actually Nagato and Conan who did that a lot, since they would often like feel bored being cooped up in Konoha, and they would feel they would kind of like miss the lives they had in the Katsuki, where they could keep moving around, and it was really interesting. And they would leave Yahiko in the custody of Naruto when they did this, and they would like take week-long trips from time to time. With Nagato using his Rinnegan to open dimensions, which was a trick that he learned how to do, and he would search for any evidence of Otsutsuki's coming on Earth. So, anyways, Naruto is also there a lot more often for his children, because unlike the idiot he was in canon, he's actually smart enough to use shadow clones to do paperwork here, and he uses so many shadow clones that his paperwork gets done in an instant, and he has a lot more free time to spend with his family and the people he cares about. Of course, he cares about the people of Konoha, but then the people he actually like spends time with, like who are his friends and stuff. So, anyways, that's the end of this series, and I hope you enjoyed. I know that it was like really rushed in the end, but there's kind of like no point in making it longer than it had to be, because like all of you knew that Naruto could like obliterate Madara pretty easily. So, anyways, if you didn't like this series, then tell me if you want me to like remaster it later. I won't. I probably won't do this for like several months, but then, anyways, just tell me if you want me to remaster this. I think I could have done a better job, but then it's up to you guys. Anyways, after this will be what if Naruto had the 10 tails, and I have a lot of good ideas for this one. So, anyways, if you like this video, please give me a like and share this video, and subscribe to my channel, and comment down what you think about this video, and your ideas for my future what ifs. And thanks for watching, guys.